The strings. And
oh, good, good. Well, that's a good start. He's at the end of it.
Yeah, that's what we've heard all.
Well, you heard it with the four cellos today.
Yeah.
And you
Lejeune, Peter.
Okay, so I'm Eric, and I will be playing Allegro Moderato No. 2 by Seitz.
I tried to maybe deal with one specific thing at least, because we have such a short amount of time. One of the things I think might be of some help. I noticed when you start on this D, and every time subsequently you come back to that note, there were some pitch problems.
Okay.
That maybe do you practice shifting like from B to D to B to D?
Well, yes.
Play open A. Now first finger B, first position. Now play with open D, the same note. Now slide from B to D on the A string. And play the open D with it. Let me show you. So that your ear is hearing how far the shift is. You know, you're out of tune. How do you, can you adjust to it so it's in tune? So you can hear that when it's finally in tune, you know what I mean? So it's out of tune, and you can hear it in tune. So if you work, and eventually your hand should feel third position and be a fairly accurate positioning for your first finger.
Okay.
If you just over and over and over again, and if you play it with the open string, you can actually play the pitch and you can hear it. That's good. And then every time you come back to that D, you have an open D just before you play it. You could even place your finger on the note somewhere in the rest.
Oh yeah.
You know, while your piano's going along, you know, you can actually, and maybe even listen to it a little bit with your ear before you play it.
Okay.
You can actually touch it with maybe your third finger while you hear it. Da-dum. Then you're there. You know, you really feel, I can do it. That was one thing. The other rather interesting thing I noticed that, you know, there are a lot of places where the dynamics are indicated in here by whoever arranged it to involve, for example, a fortissimo here, and then piano really soft, dum ba dum ba dum, and a very bright little fanciful melody again, but grazioso. You know what that means?
Graceful.
Yeah, sort of dance-like. And piano for soft. And then the crescendo to the big ending. If you can put more of those dynamics in, it'd be a lot more exciting to listen to. I know you're working a little bit with the dynamics, but I think just exaggerate them more.
All right.
Make a big deal out of it so it's more fun. And then when you get to these, the espressivo places, dee-da-dee-da, you can really play out, you know, with the bow into the string a little bit more and really use the vibrato. Nice playing. Very nice. Very good.
Thank you.
Who do you study with?
Philip Sokol
Yeah.
Oh,
was my teacher too.
really?
He's 92 now.
Oh, I know. It's an old friend of mine. And the family. In fact, next week, and the weekend after, I'm playing with the daughter, Jennifer. So, thank you very much. I think that obviously you've got very good teaching, and if we get the pitches in tune, I think this piece is going to be there.
All right.
Right?
Yeah, I'll teach you how to.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
And we're from Kenmore Junior High Symphonic Orchestra, and we'll be playing Allegro by Mozart.
Nice trio. Nice music. Nice day. Could you put your hands on the like you're going to play? Now, could you all reach up to third position or higher? Can you do that? How about higher? Clear up to the end of the fingerboard. Keep going. Keep going. What are you doing your hand to do that? See the way they're up. Where's your coming around, right? So when you're up there, why not have it there? Down here. That way you don't have to turn around. Think about that. Your elbow's already under. That's where. Now, when you shift it up to some of those places you have to go with it, your hand moves this way. You don't have to worry about the arm. You should play with it. Let's try from the top again. Okay. Never heard that before, right? Go ahead. Who starts? You want to start it?
Sure.
See this? All right, try to get and to from the right. Play the first note of the first measure. First measure. The first note. The first measure. That's the first.
Yeah. Oh.
There you go. Play it again. And the second measure, first note. The third measure. Okay, with that thinking in mind, with that thinking of playing in tune, adjusting your pitches as you're playing. Play very slowly. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Tons better. Really nice. It's got to be in tune. If it's in tune, it's beautiful. Just listen to each other, adjust your pitches, and usually you can adjust to the lower notes of the trio and work your way to the top. Sometimes there are open strings you can adjust to. If you have the opportunity, maybe you can even use a piano to play with you. If there's a piano part, or have somebody just play the chords that are with the music, that fit the music, and you can listen to the piano and play with that, right? But play in tune and work it slowly through the piece until it sounds really, really well in tune, and then work up to the tempo that you want to play it in, and put some dynamics in. You know what those are? Sure you do. The louds and the softs. That'll make it even more exciting. There's some contrast between the louds and the softs. The advice I give you as a trio is to play in tune. Start with that. Foundation is important. The intonation is good, and then work your way up to tempo. Okay? Could you do that? You'll have a really, really good performance. Thank you.
He's like, really? All right.
Sure. Have you worked, what grade? 7? 7? Have you worked on this individually so that you learned each part? Have you practiced your own part by yourself? You did? And did you have help working on your part by yourself? Like with a teacher or something? And then when you come together, you can play it with a set tempo. You started together, and by the time you got into the eighth notes, then you had two different ideas as to how fast this piece actually was, right? So the top line went faster and faster and faster, and you tried to stay within whatever. The result of not really being familiar or comfortable, I think, with knowing the piece well enough to play it as a duet, perhaps has an effect on what you did today. I guess what I'm saying is that you still need to learn how to play what's there. And you need to be able to play in the key of G at the beginning. And then if you look at it, it goes into some rather interesting chromatic scales down here. That the A flat to an A natural, B flat, B natural, C, and then a G sharp. That's a really hard spot. So you need to have some help doing that, learning how to play that. And the same thing down here, the chromatic scale in the bottom. You have to be able to play it by yourself really well, maybe with a piano, and then have somebody help you play it together so that each one of these notes occurs at the same time in the measure. Okay? And that takes a lot of time. Maybe starting with a little easier piece at first to do a duet would be a good idea too. But certainly pursue playing as a duet, but I think you just need to learn your parts better before you try to put them together. That would be my advice. Okay? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Naomi Guzman, and I'm an 8th grade and go to Cameron Junior High. And the song I'll be singing is called Cello, which is a Mexican folk song, and it's arranged by Patrick Librarian.
great. You did really well with the Spanish. Do you know someone who speaks Spanish or something like that?
Oh, I'm
Herself.
Great. So is first language for you or second language is Spanish? Or at the same time?
same time.
Oh, wow, you're lucky. So that sure comes naturally for you. And you really have a wonderful smile. When you, I mean, you have a winning, what they call a winning smile, and people look at you and they just like, they want to, you know, they feel for you when you smile like that. A very neat choice of a song. I like it. And you've got a very good sense of pitch and a wonderful tone, and I like all of that. Okay, now, a couple things I want to work on. One is holding out notes. You know how, because it's easy to run out of breath, don't you think?
Yeah.
So, like, where's one that I want you to hold out? I. When you're holding them out, don't just get softer, but almost get kind of louder on it. Can you start there, maybe 23? 1, 2, 3, ready, and. Yeah, that's better. And I can see your stomach kind of going in like this, but that was the right thing. You held it out. That's good. Now, also, one of the other things I want to work on in this song is the joy of it. I mean, it's a joyful song, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so, but I didn't get joy from you all the way through. When you got done, I did. You were like, yeah, yes, you know. And now I do. But I would like you to sing I, because we sing different when we're joyful. Like when we're happy, ah, it just makes our voice better. So I would like you to sing I, but joyfully. 1, 2, 3, ready, and. That's better.
That was awesome.
And now I want you to also, your eyes could still be more joyful though. So I want to see, because now your eyes are joyful, but when you sing, you're pretty serious. So I want you to say this as a dramatic line. Say, I am so happy. Say that.
I'm so happy.
Yes, I mean, because when you say the lines, you do it. Let's see, how about this one? I think I just won the lottery. Go.
I think I just won the lottery.
Right, see, because you're a drama person. So like, when you sing, you've got to have that joy in you that you have when you say your dramatic lines. We'll try it one more time. And put the joy like you're saying something dramatic to me. Go. Fun to see you when you smile. Your most potent weapon is your smile. Guys are gonna have a hard time. I mean, there's toast because you have so much power. I mean, it's rare. 1 in 100 people has the power that you have, like that. And so you want to use that in your music to bring out the drama of it. And what grade are you in?
I'm in
8th. Man, all these good 8th graders. Wow. Well, I'm very happy to hear you, and very well prepared, and a lovely voice.
Hi.
I'm just gonna check these real quick, just because I figure it's worth the trouble. At least I can't complain about your open strings now.
Okay, so he's Riley and I'm Sam, and we're from Canyon Park Junior High, and we're playing The Night by B Tours.
Thank you. I liked the second time better because I liked your balance better the second time. I thought that you came out more with your melody the second time than you did the first time. And one thing I made in my notes is balance is the responsibility of both of you. In order for this piece to be successful, you both have to be paying attention to who you want to bring out the whole time. Your pitch is pretty good. I mean, you could rehearse this piece slower and really work on lining up some more of those pitches. And I would say that pitch probably comes back to, well, maybe you haven't had as much time working on scales and left-hand technique as maybe you could have. How long have you been playing?
I've been playing since this summer.
Okay, and you?
And I've been playing since like I was in 4th grade.
Okay, so it's like 8 years. So I don't know when you were in 4th grade.
Oh, I'm in 7th grade now, so I've been in like 3.
Okay, 3, okay. Okay, and so one of the hard parts about playing the bass is the fact that it's so big and it's hard to handle and to balance. And a tendency for a lot of young players is to end up holding the bass up with their left hand. And the problem that gives is that you end up getting fatigued and you end up not having the energy to put your left hand into the string. And so it looks somewhat like the basses are resting on your body, but when I see the palm of your left hand touching the back of the neck, that shows to me that really there must be some added weight on your hand, or you wouldn't do that, because it's a really unnatural thing to do. And so one thing I'll do is I'll put the idea in your head that fingering on the bass is more like using your fingertips to help yourself stand up than it is about squeezing. And I'll demonstrate. So because once you get in like this, look what happens to my 4th finger if I want to play a note. If I'm playing with my 3rd finger, it's going to be nearly impossible to spread my fingers out. I can't spread them out like this. You can see that, right? I can't. If I go like this, look how far I can spread my fingers. But if I'm like this, it's impossible. And so if I've got the bass held up with my body, some people like to sit. Sometimes I can even let the bass lean forward and have the weight of the bass hold the string down. But the last thing you want to do is have your left hand holding anything up, because in this piece, let's play a little bit of this together. Here, okay. Just right at the top, count me in.
1, 2, 3, 4.
See how I've got this much space in that half step, and how much sound I can make because I'm not trying to squeeze. Just that technique alone is going to make it so the bass can't really speak. You know, when you play notes with your left hand, they should sound just like the ones that are open. Now I'm going to switch instruments here. Okay. Now I had to really shout on that real tiny bass to try to play over. Now, if it's your responsibility to put my sound out in the room, then maybe you could approach it a little more like this, shall we?
1, 2, 3, 4.
blasting. I had to really blast to try to balance with you here, and it goes down to piano. And part of me is really sensitive. Why is he playing so loud? Doesn't he want to hear my solo? What am I doing wrong? He's blasting. And then when I get to the end and I really do have the solo, you're still blasting. And I'm trying to play as loud as I can with this big thing. And whereas here, as an accompanist, I'm thinking, I'm playing as soft as I can. Why won't he play out? Am I still too loud? How soft do I have to get? Why is he doing this to me? And that's the insecure part that can happen. But so you can see how responsible you are. Now I'm going to play with you starting at 13. I'm going to take your instrument again and give you an example of actually, let's start at 9. Give you an example of what I can do to light a fire under him. Okay. Let's start at 9.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I'll start one more time and I'll play it in the minor key, in the right key. Oh, I was playing it in the right key. Try again for my sake. Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Bravo.
Are you studying up in Bellingham? Where are you studying at?
Rajan,
Purdue?
Swami.
Oh, okay. If you ever get a chance to go up to Bellingham, take a lesson with Barton Frank. I don't know if you know who he is or if your teacher knows who he is. He's a Piatigorsky prodigy. He was the principal of the National Symphony when he was 19. He's in his late 70s now. Charges $10 a lesson, and you sound like him already. So I think it'd be just somebody to meet, just for kicks. Somebody to meet, he'd like to meet you, you know. And but I can talk to you about that later. Not to replace your teacher, just somebody else to go see. Because I think they're, you know, something that for the sound you're going for. I think he's got some things with his right arm that would really give you a little more control over the big part of your sound.
Yeah.
Because right now it seems like there's a little bit of conflict with the bow. Sometimes you lose contact with the core of the string, either because you're crushing or because of something else. And he's got a real relaxed way of letting his shoulder and his arm down. And the fact that he's in his late 70s and still, he's one of the biggest sounding cellists you'll ever hear in your life. But I think you get a kick out of that. And in regards to your bravura, which is the word I'll use, just make sure when you're doing something a little flashy, you know, something that when you're showing off a little bit, that you make sure to keep it together enough at the end of it to keep it clean, because then you'll pull it off. Otherwise, you're like, I just did this really hard thing, and then the easy thing you don't give enough attention to. And so it kind of detracts from the effect that you were trying to get from the other thing. I really like your solid sound. Your pitch is really good. I was surprised when she gave you the A for the piano, and your cello was in tune with itself, but a little sharp to the piano. But you didn't. I mean, it probably worked out okay when you did the harmonic at the end because your harmonic's going to be flat. But I just didn't know how much thought you put into that. It worked out okay. Your dynamic of piano pianissimo, I'd like to hear it a little softer.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear a little more blood in the note when it gets to the soft section. You know, just to back off and really make your audience lean forward and give them a little a stronger
experience there, you know, something about a performer having the ability to play soft enough to make the pianist have to hide and crouch down and everybody lean forward, oh, what's he going to do, you know? Because there are a few sections where it's marked in here, and you may be choosing, I mean, it's one thing to fill a hall with sound, but there's also if you can get your audience quiet enough, you know, you can still fill the hall with a really, really soft sound too. And so I'd really like to hear your piano, in particular pianissimo, larger, because your mezzo forte towards the end was, you know, when we got to the 16th notes, was even a little more softer than some of the pianos marked in other places. I hope it's not too much minutia. That's the way I like to talk about music. Make sure when you get to the end of the piece that you know what you're going to do with bow speed so you don't run out. Some of your, I marked it in your part, I hope you don't mind. In bar 17, you know, after you've done your first entrance and it's really flashy, sounds great, you go down into the D and the G string and play a passage, and then you have an entrance on a G, a high G. If you're familiar with the spot, you have a rest right before that. Make sure that you use that rest to get the bow set in the string before you move it, because you're kind of still. There's a few places that came up. I only marked it once because I figured that's all the more I need to. Just remember, take that rest and just be set before you go so that your entrance is clean. Some of your dotted half notes, you're holding maybe a dotted quarter worth of time. That you can just relax and let the note play its full length. People will like to listen to that. Great job on the memorizing, of course. Pretty much the only real criticisms I have, you know, and the things, the only other criticisms I had were when you lost the core of the tone here and there, or the sound got a little, and I didn't know if it was because the bow was traveling up or down, or if it's because of whatever. That's something that's you're just going to get better and better the longer you go. You're obviously practicing in a really efficient way already. So I put a couple question marks in on some of the long notes, just so, you know, just remind yourself to decide how long you're going to play them, because it doesn't sound like you've decided on some of those. Other than that, no complaints here. Beautiful job. Thanks for playing. That was nice. Using all those open strings in the cello, it just really resonates really nicely. It doesn't sound like you guys have spent a lot of hours on this. Is that fair to say? And so one of the things that comes out from that is a lack of a cohesive balance. The soloist was drowned out pretty much the whole time. And what that does to the soloist is it can really make a soloist uncomfortable because they haven't got any room to be expressive.
they're spending all their energy trying to project above the accompaniment, and so it makes it a little more difficult. I thought the first and second cellos could have spent a little more time together working on pitch in particular to get those lined up. I thought the accompaniment was pretty well in tune, but the accompaniment didn't have to do much. When you guys did the low pizzicatos, you didn't really seem cohesive in what dynamic you're going to play those out. All of a sudden, you know, you came out forte and you came out kind of mezzo forte. By the end, she won. You were both really nice and forte on your pizzas, but I noticed in the score they're marked piano. So it might be something to consider too, getting those happening. The retard at the end didn't really happen. It just kind of kept going until you got to the last note. That's you kind of composed a retard in there, sort of, by having the rhythm, the melodic rhythm slow down. And then the long note's got a nice decrescendo written on it. You guys just kind of each ended it each individual time. And that's a real contemporary thing to do. This is the 21st century. And, you know, there's a lot of independence in music, but I'm not sure that's what Tchaikovsky was going for when he wrote his half notes there. So I wouldn't mind hearing you guys do from C to the end again, and just really think about the dynamics. If you're going to have a decrescendo in the last two bars, you've got a decrescendo from piano, which is already soft. You mind just playing the last 8 bars for us again? That's something that would take some more work. You know, you're all not really haven't been playing together long enough to sound like a group. You sound like 4 people playing at the same time, which is still good. It's better than 4 people playing in the same place but not at the same time. So that's good. So I don't know how much more I can help, you know, being that you haven't put a lot of time into it. But what you've got together sounds good. Thanks for playing.
This is Woodrow, Peter, and Tim, and I'm Bjorn, and we're playing Barthel's Canon arrangement for cellos.
keep my comments short just because I've fallen a little bit behind. I would like to hear cello 2, 3, and 4 in bar 41, just for 2 bars. And I'd like to hear you play real nice, balanced, that's a 4th here.
41.
Just for 2 bars, yeah, just 1 bar. Okay, so you can hear kind of that there's a little bit of a balance issue, you know, and the balance issue is somewhat complicated. You've got different qualities of instruments, a wide range of quality of instruments, and you're all strong players, so most of it's the instrument. Some of it, and there's a spot, for example, where when you get to quarter notes towards the end, within like last 10 bars of the end, just kind of speed up a little bit and leave everybody in the dust. And just remember the quarter notes got to be just as long and full as the short notes do too. So balance is something that I think would really make this thing really shine. You know, to have the accompanying figures come down a little bit lower and blend with each other a little bit better so that the soloist can come out even more shiny. There's lots of places where you are doing really nice things effectively, and I think that would definitely add to that. So always know who's got the prominent part. Poor balance is going to make it hard to play in tune. The reason it's hard to play in tune is because if you've got the upper partials of a note, let's say one of you's on the 5th, and the 5th's coming out louder than the root, how's the person who's playing the 3rd going to decide where to put it when it all of a sudden sounds like the 5th's in the bass? You know, things like that will make the harmony sound better if you smooth out your balance. I like your ideas with stroke and articulation. Be sure that the bass notes don't overpower the soloists. And yeah, thanks for playing. Enjoy that. That's why I was making sure the stand wasn't in your way.
I'm Bjorn Payne, and I'm playing the Prelude to Bach's first cello suite.
probably stress out because you stopped a couple times, but I wouldn't stress about that. That's just, and the reason not is because it's because whether you stopped or not, I already had interpreted something in your playing that I thought whether you stopped or not doesn't really change. And the word I'd use for it is the snowball effect. You know, as you get going and you're going through the piece, it just kind of snowballs, and you're just on the borderline of being in control time-wise, because it's leaning forward, and some of this piece is really written for the fingering to really flow really well. And then, of course, it's Bach, so he's going to come up with something to throw you all off in a minute. You know, so you get rolling along, and then all of a sudden, you've got too much momentum to play the next passage, and that's why that happens. I don't think it's obviously not a reading thing, it's not a pitch thing, it's nothing more than the very, very common snowball effect, which happens to a lot of people when they play Bach. And so one of the comments I made right off the bat, you know, before there was anything to complain about, was to be sure to take your time and let the instrument ring, let it resonate. That's how it goes.
It's teacher's big, Fernand.
So when you recorded yourself, what was your first impression?
Practice.
Okay, well, that's good. What was your second impression?
Better pitch.
Yeah. I think your pitch is pretty good. What I wrote in here as far as intonation is concerned, I think that most of the issues you're having with pitch will be resolved with
And I even wrote in here, I usually don't write a specific remedy to something, but I did this time. I think even 2 weeks of long tones, practicing long tones with the metronome. What I mean by that, and I'll demonstrate for you in a minute, but what it does is it gives you a control over the bow that you can only get that way. And I'll give you an exercise here in a minute that'll do that. But it'll allow you to be a lot more comfortable with the bow in your right arm, because I bet you when you pluck through this, you love the way it sounds. I bet if you recorded it and plucked it, you go, wow, that sounds great, but when I get the bow, I just don't like the sound. Makes perfect sense. And I'm not sure if I would play the frog all the way through this piece, you know, and so I just think there's some kind of bow thing going on that you could be a lot happier with just a little bit of work. You'd be a lot happier with the sound you make. Your tempo was good and really strong. I wrote that your improvisation from 34 to 37 was groovy, where you kind of just started making it up there for a bit, but that was pretty cool. You know where I'm talking about, right? Okay.
He did what?
Nothing. So yeah, most of it I think is there, because once you get happy about the sound, once you're sitting down at the cello and you're making a sound that you can't stop listening to the room and going, wow, that sounds great. That's when you're going to get really excited about playing. I mean, you may be excited now, but it's going to be that much more exciting when that happens. So the exercise would be taking something like a G major scale and getting a metronome. You don't have a metronome on you, do you? Anybody here have a metronome? Just happy to see you. Okay. So anyway, you set the metronome at 60. And there's 2 exercises. The first is just set it at 60, and you start at the frog, so that's 1 beat per second. You're going to do 4 beats per note, per bow. So it's going to be G, real solid, no scratch at the beginning, no scratch at the bow change. A, up, bow, 3, 4, B, and it's going to be a little slower than that, because 60 is a little slower. And you do that for 2 octaves. And you do that for all your scales. So let's say you pick 2-3 scales a day to work on for a major scale. By the end of the week, you've gone through all 12 keys, and you've gone through the majority of the register of the instrument that you're going to spend 90% of your time playing on your entire life. It's really effective, and it lets you learn what it takes with the bow to make this instrument speak using your hand in that stick. You know, it's a pretty important thing to learn. The second exercise would be to set this metronome at the same speed at 60 per quarter note and give 8 clicks, and start at the frog on a G at piano, or whatever scale you're doing on. And at click number 5, be it forte, and at click number 8, be it piano again to start the next note. And do the same up bow. Start piano, work up to forte in the middle of the bow. And of course, you can elaborate on those exercises, but I'll say those 2 weeks of that alone, your Bach suite's going to sound, it's just going to sound infinitely better. Infinitely, you're going to have a ton more technique available to you. And I know it sounds oversimplified, and it's not. That's what it takes. It's what everybody who you've ever heard them play has done in order to be comfortable with the bow, whether you believe it or not. Maybe not that specific exercise, but some variation of it.
Sonata in C major by J.B. Graval. My name is Woodrow Stockton.
Oh, good, good. Well, that's a good start. He's at the end of it.
Yeah, that's what we heard all.
Well, you heard it with the four cellos today.
Yeah.
And you